Welcome viewers to today's episode. I am still your host, Oby Udeze. Today, in continuation on this book, Character is Timeless, we will be treating God is Timeless. Wow. Many are ruled by schedules of birth, death, day, night, deadlines and break times. But God is not affected because God has always existed and will forever exist. God is before all things were created and will have no end. God is I am, which means that God exists eternally. God is to be trusted with our lives for the past, present, and future. Before this God, there is no other God. Beside him, there is none. And after him, there can never be any other God. When you say God is timeless, it means that God is unchanging, making us to have courage to anchor our hope and lives in his steadfast promises. God being timeless is also him being outside time altogether, meaning that God exists but does not exist at any point in time. That is never early, never late. The timelessness of God made him not to be in a hurry, but always on time. God exists, but he is not seasonal or periodical, which means that God does not experience what is called temporal succession. God is eternal. He is beyond time and has everlasting life. The impassibility of God, which made him not in any way experience pain or pleasure from any other being. God is not emotional and can never be able to suffer. The word impassibility is gotten from the word impassable, which means that God cannot be passed over, crossed over, or negotiated. If we have such a God who cannot be overcome nor surmounted, why then are we in fear, confused, allowing our work to fall apart, and making our emotions to scatter, being like sheep without a shepherd? The immutability of God is one of his greatest attributes that makes God unchanging in his will, character, covenant, and promises. God is immutably wise, which makes him a very good judge. God is immutably merciful, having mercy upon us, irrespective of our sinful nature. God is immutably gracious, being kind and compassionate, full of grace to us. God is immutably good and acts in the interest of what is beneficial to humanity. Everything is possible with God. God is an impossibility specialist. The problem we are having is putting trust in what we have believed already. Most people that say that they believe in God but find it very difficult to trust God for every impossibility in their lives. We need to come to that point in our lives where we will no longer doubt the possibility of God. It does not matter what you are passing through. All that is expected of you is to believe that God is an impossibility specialist who is able to do exceedingly, abundantly, beyond what we think, ask, or imagine. We should know that God's way are not our way. Therefore, ask for deliverance from the myopic way of thinking. God's nature is awesome. That is why he is timeless. Whatever God is, he will equally become. Everything that is impossible to know, God knows it. Everything that is impossible to do, God does it with ease. This is the fullness of God's being. The life of God is the fullest life. God's life is not sequential, which means that it is not less than maximum. God's life is timeless as he experienced all of his life at once. There is no past nor future with God. God is immortal, enduring, eternal, lasting, ageless, continuous, perennial, and ongoing. As believers, we need to believe with the fullness of God. To be filled with the fullness of God is to be mindful of and yield to God's presence. Strength, spiritual authority, moral excellence, and character. It has always been the desire of God for mankind to be filled with His fullness, both as individual and the body of Christ. We cannot say that we are children of God without being filled with His Spirit. If it is true that we are made in God's image and likeness, His fullness will be visible in us as His children. Just as God is love, we should be filled with the love of God. When one is filled, the next step is to live it out, as in living out what is already dwells inside of you. We must not remain in the shallow end of our spiritual world, because remaining in the shallow end of spiritual blessing is precarious. Such spiritual blessing needs to be lived out. We are privileged in our time to experience the fullness and richness found in Jesus. Therefore, we need to live it out for others to experience the abundant life as stated in the book of John 10:10. Grace is given to us to step into the fullness of God. We need understanding to live out the spiritual richness made available to us. The greatest thing God gave to humanity is the gift of God Himself, residing in our hearts, leading us and convincing us, which brings encouragement for us to be like Jesus. Yes, we have come to the end of today's episode. I will see you same time next week when we will be treating the Triune Man. See you, love you plenty. Bye.